Most people think wealth is money, a larger bank account, a higher salary, a bigger company. But reality is different, because money is not the system. Money is the output. And beneath every dollar, every stock market, every multinational corporation, there is something deeper, a structure, a network, a system so large that billions of people participate in it every day without ever seeing how it truly works. And once you see it, the world starts to look very different. When people talk about wealth, they usually focus on individuals, the billionaire, the entrepreneur, the investor, the corporation. But wealth does not emerge from individuals alone. It emerges from systems. Systems that determine where capital flows, which industries expand, which technologies survive, and which countries prosper. Because every economy, from the smallest village to the largest superpower, depends on invisible rules. Rules that shape behavior, rules that shape incentives, rules that shape entire civilizations. And over time, those rules begin shaping the future itself. In this episode, we are not exploring a company, or a billionaire, or a stock market. We are exploring something larger, the architecture beneath them, the framework that allows modern wealth to exist. Because before corporations, there were systems. Before markets, there were institutions. Before fortunes, there were incentives. And understanding those foundations changes how you understand everything above them. At the center of every economy, there is one invisible asset: trust. Not gold, not paper money, not technology. Trust. When you accept a currency, you trust someone else will accept it tomorrow. When investors buy assets, they trust future value will exist. When businesses expand, they trust the future is worth the risk. Without trust, economic activity slows. Without trust, markets freeze. Without trust, wealth begins to disappear. Which means the foundation of modern wealth may not be money at all. It may be confidence. Money sits. Capital moves. That difference changes everything. Capital searches constantly for opportunity, for efficiency, for growth. It crosses borders, moves through industries, flows between technologies, and migrates toward environments where it can multiply. Every nation wants it. Every corporation competes for it. Every government depends on it. Because wherever capital flows, innovation often follows. And wherever capital leaves, stagnation is rarely far behind. Most people think wealth comes from ownership, but modern power often comes from allocation, the ability to decide where capital goes, which industries receive investment, which technologies receive funding, and which ideas receive a chance to grow. Because every major transformation in history was financed before it became obvious. The railroad, the oil industry, the internet, artificial intelligence. The future is usually visible first to capital. Economic power rarely introduces itself. It leaves patterns. Patterns in trade, patterns in investment, patterns in infrastructure. If you follow those patterns, certain names appear repeatedly. Certain cities, certain institutions, certain strategic assets. Not because they control everything, but because they occupy critical positions inside the system. And inside complex systems, position often matters more than size.
Most people see headlines, market crashes, interest rates, corporate earnings, election results. But those are surface events. Beneath them, larger forces continue moving. Capital allocation, resource competition, technological transformation, demographic shifts, financial infrastructure. The forces that shape decades, not gaze. And understanding those forces often matters more than reacting to the latest headline.
The biggest misconception about wealth is that wealth exists independently. It does not. Wealth is a system, a network of trust, capital, institutions, infrastructure, and incentives. Remove one part, and the structure weakens. Strengthen those parts, and prosperity expands. The real story of wealth is not about money. The real story is the system that gives money its power. Once you understand the system, you begin asking different questions. Not who became rich, but why. Not what happened, but what caused it. Not which company succeeded, but which forces made that success possible. Because behind every fortune, there is a structure. Behind every market, there is an incentive. And behind every transformation, there is a system quietly shaping the outcome. In the episodes ahead, we will explore the corporations, the institutions, the technologies, the geopolitical conflicts, and the financial networks shaping the modern world. Because global wealth is not random. It follows patterns, it follows incentives, and it follows systems. Subscribe to NEXERA Capital and join us as we uncover them. Money moves, markets change, empires rise, empires fall. But beneath every cycle, the system remains. And the better we understand that system, the better we understand the world itself. This is NEXERA Capital, decoding the architecture of global wealth.